So let's get through the boring options in Photoshop first. About Photoshop, only interesting thing here is Thomas Knoll is the original person who created Photoshop. He's a guy worth Googling, not because he created Photoshop, but because he's a fascinating character where Photoshop is barely on his resume because he has done so much else. The other things to note right here, boring. This will upload and download your settings to the Creative Cloud. Also boring. Services, all of these things are kind of standard on all Mac apps, so it'll be different what you see on the PC right here. It's interesting to note that, the keyboard shortcut for hide Photoshop is, Control Command H rather than the normal Command H. Let me do a quick aside on this because I think it's worth noting. When you first make a selection, when you make a selection, I'm only able to draw inside of the active region. Yay, la-di-da. If I hit Command H on Photoshop, by default, it turns the active region on and off. Now, this is something that Photoshop has been doing since basically it began. The thing is, Mac, by default, wants Command H to hide the app. So the first time you hit Command H, I know this is really getting deep into this single keyboard shortcut. The first time you hit Command H, a prompt will pop up being like, do you want Command H to hide the app or to hide what they call extras? So if I had things like rulers on this, Command H would also hide these. So all of the things that help that aren't actually on the image. If I had notes, it would be on that. Anyway, do you want Command H to hide this or to hide the apps? You have the option right there. View extras. This is currently what Command H applies to. So Photoshop makes hide Photoshop Command Control H. So something to know if you ever want to change that back. And why would you? Why would you want to do that? You could go into Edit and then affect the keyboard shortcuts right there. So yeah, that's more about Command H than you need.